With the NFL Conference Championship round this week, MVP discussions have only heated up. I'm Ethan Koppelman alongside Ronnie Mandel. Ronnie, I'll toss it to you first. Do you have a pick for MVP this season?
Well, it's a very competitive race. There are multiple finalists as we've been going down the playoff race here. And, I think it starts off with the two-time previous MVP, Lamar Jackson. He has had a phenomenal season again. He has running back stats in terms of a runner. He has over 1,200 rushing yards. He has 8 rushing TDs in the regular season. He's also 6th in the league in passing yards with almost 4,800. And he led this Ravens team again to another division title. So I think he's got a big case to win it. But I also think the team that they just lost to, the Bills, and their quarterback, Josh Allen's also got another big argument to win MVP as well. Josh Allen has had a terrific season. His QBR is 2nd in the league. He only has 6 interceptions, which is tied for 3rd in the league. His rushing yards have increased throughout the seasons as well, too. He's got over 500 rushing yards, and he's led this Bills team with a not-so-star-studded receiving core to the AFC title game. So I think he's got a strong case, too. Obviously, with the voters, they got a tough decision because Lamar's went the past couple of years, and are they going to get some voter fatigue or not? But I think it's going to end up being down to those two. What do you think, Ethan?
So, yeah, if I were going to pick a quarterback, I would agree with you. I would go with Lamar, and the voter fatigue is obviously interesting, too. I'm not going to pick a quarterback. Say it's biased. I don't care. I'm going to pick the running back for my Philadelphia Eagles, Saquon Barkley. Yeah. I get that people say that the offensive line is good. And it is, right? You have guys like Miles Sanders basically out of the league now. DeAndre Swift, well, you're a Bears fan. You know how DeAndre Swift was this season, I assume.
Oh, man, I know.
Not very great, not very good. But at the same time, if you're going to have a great offensive line, you need a great running back like Saquon Barkley to unlock them. And what we've seen out of Saquon Barkley this year has been nothing short of incredible. He's rushed for over 2,000 yards. He would have, in my opinion, very likely broken the record, the single-season record, if he had that other game in Week 18. Eagles said, no, Saquon, you're not going to play. And the biggest thing, in my opinion, Ronnie, that Saquon Barkley has brought to this Eagles offense is these bailout runs where he will just break and go 50-plus yards for a touchdown. The biggest problem with the Eagles last year is offensive stagnation.
Yeah, exactly.
That will happen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
That will happen this season, too. It has happened. And what happens occasionally is Saquon Barkley will get them out of this rut with this big run. And you look at the running backs of the past, right? Not very good. DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders, they were pretty good at the Eagles. Not very good other places. Even when they were with the Eagles, they couldn't do that. My pick's Barkley.
I can't argue with that. Saquon Barkley's had a phenomenal year. It seems like every time I turn on the TV, he has a big run. I know this guy won't win MVP, but I feel like he deserves a shout-out because defensive players generally don't win it. But Myles Garrett had another just terrific season, and I feel like without shouting him out, that would not be right. I mean, he had almost 20 sacks. He had 23 tackles for loss, which is 1st in the league. He had 5 forced fumbles. Obviously, he wasn't on a good Browns team, so he won't be in the consideration, but I also feel like I should give a shout-out to the Texas A&M Aggie and Cleveland Brown now for almost the past decade, Myles Garrett.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird award. You really only see quarterbacks win it. Occasionally, you'll see a running back. Nobody ever talks about the defensive players. So in a way that's not with other sports, it's a very limiting award. Real quick, I think we got another minute. You got a coach of the year pick?
Well, man, there are so many options with this award, but I'm going to go with the guy who had a second chance and has made the most of it, and his name's Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has done a tremendous job with the Commanders this year. Last year, they go 4-13. They have really no identity, no quarterback, nothing to really look forward to, and they picked Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's a defensive coach, but he picked the right offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury, and the Commanders have been terrific this season. They have vastly turned around the whole culture, and I think Dan Quinn has a big reason to do with that. He has lots of experience. He has a great relationship with the guys. He has in the NFC title game now, and I think Dan Quinn has definitely made the most impact when it comes from a new head coach and someone from an organization like the Commanders that hasn't had much success. What do you think?
Real quick, I got to go with the guy who got an extension today, Kevin O'Connell. Really tough division he's in, and the Vikings, my goodness, they just had a tremendous season. That's it for us today. Ethan Koppelman, Ronnie Mandel. We're going to send it to the outro.